Okay, I think this time it's going to work. I tried it one other time and it totally stopped me from going anywhere. Okay, so today, to start off with, um, so there's one thing I wanted to go over with you, and I was hoping that some people would be here. Oh, somebody showed up. There's something I need to go over with you. Maybe we'll do it a couple times, see if people actually get here. Like Miss Shaw. Where's Miss Shaw? She's not on mine today. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so what I noticed on grading some of the problems you guys have done uh, on what? Oh, on Edpuzzle. So if I have x times x times x times x, that will give me x to the fourth power. Now, there are a few of you, sorry, dog's barking. There are a few of you that aren't using the x's, you're using a number instead. So you shouldn't do that. Oh, I guess I should have gone the other direction first. So if it says x to the seventh power, and I want you to expand that, you should be using an x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There should be 7 x's. This is what it should look like. Some of you used the asterisk, which is perfectly fine. Some of you use parentheses. That's perfectly fine because the little dot it's difficult to find on Edpuzzle. So good job. Now, this is one thing that we have to talk about, and it's this. If I have negative y raised to the third power, that's the same thing as saying negative y times negative y times negative y. Now, if I have negative y squared, I would have negative y times negative y. And if you notice on this, sorry about that, these two, when I multiply them together, negative times a negative is a positive. This over here, we end up with a negative. So when you actually get this answer, okay, it's great in this form. Oh, you know what? I should actually do it with numbers. Because this simplified would actually be this right here. That, and then this one down here would actually just be y squared. Now, if you notice, I don't have the parenthesis on this anymore. Hello, Cameron. Wondering if you guys were showing up. It's really important when you actually have a number. So if I have negative 2 and it's raised to the second power, that's going to be negative 2. I don't know why I wrote that. Times negative 2, which will get you a positive 4. If you have it written like this, these two are not equal to each other. They are not the same thing. Here, the negative is squared. Here, the negative is not squared. This would be like saying negative 1 for that part right there times 2 times 2. So this would actually come out to a negative 4. Hello, Lila. Hello, Emily. Okay, are there any that you guys saw that you wanted me to go over? Anything that you saw that you want me to go over? Well, fine, I'm going to pick one. Negative 6 to the 5th times negative 6 to the 5th x to the 5th x squared. Okay, on this one, now there are two ways of doing this. This one right here. If I look at this, the base is -6. So I write down -6. Then I have the exponents. I add the exponents. Over here, I have x. That's a different base. And I have 5, and I add 2. This is -6 to the 10th power. This is x to the 7th power. Now, hopefully you learned throughout this that -1 times -1, that would get me a +1. If I have 3 of them, it's going to get me a -1 as my answer. If the exponent is a positive exponent, the answer is going to be try that again. If this number is an even number, you're going to get a positive answer. So it would be 6 to the 10th, x to the 7th. Now, if you wrote it like this, it's not wrong. It's just, you can just write it like that. Let's see. Can you please do problems like number 11 and 12 on the practice sheet? Okay, so I see 11 and 12, huh? Okay, and Emily, I don't get how on the worksheet some questions have the same base and you multiply them, and some you kept the same, like number 1 and number 8. Number 1 and number 8. Okay, hi Nathan. The screen is blurry for me. It's probably because I have really bad internet connection. Sorry. I'll try and make it big and see if that works. My dogs are going to freak out. That's okay. So let me get to the one that says practice. So on number 11 and 12. Okay, so we have -5 x to the 10th. I'm just writing it for right now. Give me just a second. Z times 2xyz times 3x to the 4th y squared. Okay, now I can switch back over to you guys. Maybe. Sorry. Oh, okay, you can actually see this. Okay, is it any better being closer? It's probably just my internet connection is really bad. Hi, Mrs. Shaw. Okay, so Mrs. Shaw actually did this for you the other day, but I'm going to do it just a little bit differently for you. I'm actually going to circle these. And the reason I'm circling them is because all 3 of those are all coefficients. So I'm going to write them out to the side. So I have -5 times 2 times 3. Then I'm going to put the x's together. So I have x to the 10th times x to the 4th. And then y's, I have a y, I have another y, and I have a y squared. The only reason I'm doing it this way is to organize it for some of you that have a hard time seeing all of this jumbled together. Then I have a z here and a z here. Don't you love my z's? Oh, I like the circles. Oh, yeah. So these right here, their bases are not the same. So you just multiply the numbers. So -5 times 2 is -10. -10 times 3 is -30. So the coefficient is -30. We didn't have to add, subtract, multiply, or divide any of the exponents. Now, the bases are multiplied together. When the bases are exactly the same and you multiply the bases together, remembering that there's an invisible one there, you add the exponents. So you're multiplying the bases, but you add the exponents, okay? Then over here I have y, and I have a 1 plus 1 plus 2, just making sure you can still see it. And then I have a z, and I have a 1 plus 1. Now, I actually like when my students write this step. It's actually not necessarily needed for you to write that step, but it's nice to see where you may have made a mistake if you make a mistake. So I have my negative 30. No, I'm not getting sick. It's from lack of speaking to anybody. 10 plus 1 plus 4 gets 15. Y, I have 1 plus 1 plus 2, which is 4, and z to the second. Okay, Cameron, did that help? Do I need to do number 12 also? Cameron. Cameron, do you go by Cammy or just Cameron? Hello. I don't see anybody talking. Is it just me? Okay, I'm going to erase this. That helped. Thank you. Okay, good. So, Emily, you're talking about number 1. And let me go over here and write down number 1. No, I didn't print it out because, oh, it's to the 4th and then to the 6th. I think Mrs. Shaw needs to invest in a whiteboard like mine. Okay, so Emily, I'm not sure which part is what you're talking about, but if you notice the bases, they are multiplied together. Okay, so it's the base that's multiplied together. This is your base, those are multiplied together. When you do that, you keep the base the same. So this stays the same. Okay, so your base stays the same, but your exponents is what changes. So you add the exponents together. So you keep your base. It doesn't change at all, but your exponent changes to 10. Okay, let's, okay. Okay, hi Cam, there we go. So excited to see you again. You guys are funny. That made me happy. Yes, no, I didn't steal it. I asked permission. Oh, number 1, the answer has the same base, but the number 8. But on number 8, the bases are the same, but they got multiplied. Okay, let me look at 8. Let me look at 8. Okay, so 8, we have 3y. Oh, I see what you mean. I bet anything I see, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so on this one, again, this is a coefficient, this is a coefficient. 3 times 3. And then we have y to the 3rd. Trying to behave myself and write down everything. So I've split them up. So I have 3. Now you can think of it like this and do 1 plus 1. 3 plus 1 plus 4. So here I would get 3 squared y to the 8th power. Now, this right here is simplest exponential form, but the other one we did, it was like 6 to the 10th power or something. Who wants to try and figure out 6 to the 10th power? But 3 to the 2nd power is super easy. It's just 9. So that's why they multiplied it. You could have left it like that, but in actual simplified form, it would be 9 to the 8th power, or 9y to the 8th power. When the bases are different, I can do that. Emily, does that make sense? I'll keep it down on there for a second. Sorry. Hello, Jonathan Collier. Or is that Coulter? I can't tell. My eyes are getting old. Okay. You know what I noticed is yesterday I couldn't see my kids' remarks. I'm very sad about that. So you want one where the bases are different. Okay. Let's see. 6 to the third power times 2 to the fifth power. Well, if it was this, there's really not a lot you can do with this other than just simplify it. So, okay, smarty pantses, what's 6 to the third power since I picked an obnoxious number? Do I get 216? Yeah. And then here, I know that one. That one's 32. So one like this, you would just end up multiplying these together. And yeah, if I had a calculator, that'd be great. But I know where it is, but I don't want to get it out. 2, 1, 9, 6. So this would be my answer. Okay. So if it looks something like that, you would just have to simplify each one of these and then multiply it together. Now, I'm going to do a different one. Don't worry. So if I have, I don't know, let's see. Don't pick 6, Kimberly. Yes, my name's Kimberly, just so you know. 2 to the third times y to the fifth times 2 times x to the seventh times 3x. I don't know, I just picked random numbers. So here I have my coefficients. So I write those out to the front. And no, not everybody does that, but I just figured it's easy. Now, normally I write these in alphabetical order, but I'm writing them as they come along here. And I'm going to change it to alphabetical order right now. These two have the same bases. So those are the ones that you deal with. This has a totally different base, so we don't do that. So 2 to the 3 plus 1 times 3. You can't do anything with these right now. They have to be totally separate. And I'm going to change this to the x's here because I can't stand. And then y to the fifth. Okay? So this would be 2 to the fourth times 3. Still can't do anything with it. X to the eighth, y to the fifth. Now, we've got to simplify this. Okay? Hopefully you know at some point in time that 2 to the fourth is 16. How do I know? Because I've been doing this for 20 some odd years. And then 16 times 3, 48, x to the eighth, y to the fifth. Does that make sense? Okay, Lindsay, you want number 9? Okay. Or 2. Is that on the practice sheet or is not that on the other sheet? Lindsay, which sheet is that on that you did for notes today? Well, Nathan, the only thing I can say is go out and come back in. I can't do anything about it. Sorry. That and this is just help. Your teaching should have been the videos that you watched. Okay, Lindsay, you're not going to tell me which one it was on. I'm going to take a wild guess. I don't have any idea. Number 2 on something. Number 2 on what, Lindsay? Lindsay. Okay, so I did already go over this one. So if this was to the fifth power, it would be, I am not going to write the parentheses each time. Negative x times negative x times negative x times negative x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the same thing as saying negative times a negative, which is a positive, negative times a negative, which is a positive, and then an extra negative. So that means my answer is going to have a negative on the front of it. Then the x's, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer here comes out to a negative. Now, if we change this to a 6, if we change that to a 6 and add on another negative right here, these two negatives would end up as a positive. Oops, you can't even see that. There we go. So this would now be positive, and this would be to the 6th power. Well, Cam, thank you very much. Sorry, number 9 on practice. Okay. Thank you. Number 9 on the practice. I don't know what you're talking about making it 1. It shouldn't come out to 1 at all. Maybe I misunderstood what you were saying. So again, like I said before, I like to circle those and write them out front. And I have 3 of those. Then I have a to the 10th times a squared times a to the 6th. Now you are correct, Lindsay. That could be 2 to the 3rd power. And so this would be 2 to the 3rd power, a to the 18th. But as I've explained a couple times now, this right here is simplest exponential form. It is not simplest form because we know what 2 to the 3rd power is. It is 8. Okay, so you have to look at what the directions say. If it says leave it in exponential form, then you would leave it like that. But it says to simplify, then you would write it like this. Anybody else? Shaw, I'm very sad. We only have 8 people for this one. What would be the answer if it was 5x to the power of 3 5x to the power of 3, like that? Time, or 5x to the power times 5y to the power of 6. Do you mean like this, Nathan? So if you wrote it out the long way, this would right here would be 5. I like to write it like this. Like this. And then this one would be 5y, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need one more. And some dots right there. Okay. That's how I like to do it at first because some of you aren't perfectionists at this yet. And how many 5s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many x's? Because this is expanded form. Can't we just add them up? 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if we're using the rules to do this, oh, I don't think you've learned the rules as to how to do this yet. So I can't do that. So this would be answer. So Lindsay, on this one, normally 5 to the 9th power, we would not make that into simplest form because it's such a large number. In fact, I could write it as 5, 3, 1, 2, 5. I could write it as 1,953,125 x to the third, y to the sixth. But a lot of times when we have a high exponent on the coefficient, then we just leave it like that. Okay. Anything else before I go to algebra? Anything else? Shaw, is it super blurry to you? Yes, you will learn that next week, Nathan. Nathan, are you on a phone or are you on a computer? I have really bad internet. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Maybe you can zoom in on it when it's recorded. You had better stop with your barking over there. Maya Mora, you're fine. Okay. Looks like I think for Spanish it's blurry too. It's really, I pay for high internet and it doesn't seem to be working correctly. Okay, anything else? Nothing. Hi, Maya. Hi, Maya. Hey, Mrs. Shaw, did you do anything fun today? Yes, I'm recording with the computer. Well, my Chromebook. That's all I have. Did you learn any new chords on your guitar? I'm just gonna sit here and chat with you guys. We could sit here and chat with the girls. They are so bored. Oh, you're very welcome, Jonathan. Oh, you finished a puzzle? Let's see what I finished. I tried to do the Spanish grades, the math grades. Oh, yeah, I should do a puzzle. Nope, I watched a lot of Hallmark movies. That's what I do a lot of time while I'm trying to do other things. Oh, we went and said hi to somebody. I mean, we were in our cars and waving, driving by, honking our horns at somebody that just came home. Actually, I don't mind the grading. I do a screen by screen. Like I get all the answers right. Or I get all what the answers are, and then I do that, and then I go in and I just put it screen next to screen, and I go down. But I don't know how to do it on a Mac. Okay. Let's see. Oh, no, we have 12 kids. Are we on to algebra now? It's the algebra hour. No, it's the algebra half hour. Okay. Let's see. Let's look and see what we did for algebra. Anybody have a question on algebra? I did all the homework and all the classwork. I feel like I need to sneeze. Oh, I have to remind myself. Let's see, negative x plus 1, 2x plus 3. I love factoring. Hi, Hannah. Okay, so let's look at this. I want to look at this. Let's multiply it out. I have a negative out front. And yes, we discovered that mine is all blurry, so I'm so sorry, guys. So I would get a 2x squared. I would get a 3x plus 2x plus 3. And then I'd multiply our combined like terms, got a negative out front. Multiply our combined like terms. And I would have this. Now, the reason I did this problem is because this is actually from your, what is that thing called? Your Edpuzzle today. And you had to go backwards from this. It gave you this problem. And you had to factor it. And some of you said, oh, I can't do that. Well, first of all, I believe I said 20, sweetie, you're going to have to tell me what page it's on, Hannah, because I have absolutely no idea. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to take out a negative before you do anything. Before you do this problem, you have to take out the negative. If you're doing it X method, which you take these two and you multiply them together, and that goes right here. And then you take the 5 and you put it right here. So what are the factors of 6 that add to 5? If you tell me 1 and 6, that's wrong. How about 2 and 3? So again, you have to leave that negative out front. So now I have 2x squared plus 2x plus 3x, and then I bring this 3 down here. Now, the reason I kind of went fast over that part is because Miss Shaw did a great job teaching this the other day. These two right here came from right here. 2 plus 3 gets our 5. 2x plus 3x gets our 5x. So then go here. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Take out a 2x, and I get x plus 1. Take out a 3, I get x plus 1. Those two in the parentheses are exactly the same. I highlighted them in the video. I have a negative out front. I have an x plus 1. And when I take away those x plus 1s, I'm left with 2x plus 3. Okay, so 553. 553. Oops, I went too far. 553. Number 25. Okay. It's asking me for big numbers. Okay. So y equals, now, I actually do it the box method, which nobody else likes the box method. But oh well. I like the area model box method, whatever, rectangular method. Okay, so again, in order to do this, you multiply these two numbers together. That's the A and the C, and you get 40. Then this is the B value. It goes down here. So hopefully this one is actually easy to see what adds up. But the factors of 40, 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. Now remember, you could have negative 40 and negative 1, but that's not going to add together to get a positive number, so that's why we're not putting the negatives down. But these two, 4 and 10, that adds to get that. So I get 5x squared plus 10x plus 4x plus 8. Then I cut it in half. I take out a 5x. I get x plus 2. I take out a 4. And I get an x plus 2. So x plus 2, 5x plus 4. Okay. For the homework, do we have to use algebra tile method or something, or can we use the X method? You can use the X method. Actually, on this, I'm going to cheat a little bit and show you how I would do the box method. Shh, don't tell Mrs. Shaw. Okay, so the box method. I would put my first term right here, 5x squared. I would put my 8 down here. These two are the two that you found in the X method. So the 10x and the 4x. So I look at these two and see what they have in common. 5x. What do these two have in common? A 4. What do these two have in common? An x. What do these two have in common? A 2. And you still end up with x plus 2 and 5x plus 4. Haha. I like that way better. But everybody else likes the other way. Okay, stop cheating. I'm not cheating, brat. Okay, now, how do I find out if I did it correctly? Because one of the questions was, did you do it correctly? Well, you just multiply it back out. If you multiply it back out, does it get what you started with? You should never get a problem wrong on this because you can just multiply it back out. So that would get 5x squared. This would get plus 4x. This would get plus 10x. And this would get plus 8. 5x squared plus 14x plus 8. Do I get what I started with? I sure did. So this is my answer. And make sure you have the y equals, and make sure you don't change these to different variables. Some of you did that. Okay, other questions, comments, concerns? Are you guys professionals at this? Man, we're getting fewer and fewer people showing up. Nobody? Not a soul. Not a soul. Fine. I'm going to do a hard one. Just kidding. Let's see. Let's go to your homework on one of these pages. I'm going to go. Oh, I was just on the homework. Show us Luna. Oh, she's on the floor chewing on her toy. She does that a lot of times while I'm on the computer. And then Maya's over there waiting for mommy to get finished because she really hates this and my messy house. You've got to eat right now? Well, that's good, Nathan, because this isn't your class. Enjoy. Okay, let's see. I want to do one of these. Okay, so the middle term on this is 0. So what are the factors of negative 16 that add to 0? 4 and negative 4. So this would get me x squared plus 4x minus 4x minus 16. Got it? I take an x and I get x plus 4. I cut it, or I take out a negative 4. Remember, if the leading coefficient is negative, you need to take out a negative. So then I get x plus 4. My two sets of parentheses are exactly the same. And hopefully you remember that this is the difference of two squares. The first one's a square, the second one's a square, and there's a minus sign in between. So I'm going to actually do it the opposite way for a second. I'm going to do it without the y equals for a minute. So in your lesson today or the other day, You learned that this is x squared minus 25. If I have x plus 7 and x minus 7, you learn that's x squared minus 49. Then we have x, oh no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 2x minus 1, 2x plus 1. I'm still squaring the first one, so that's 4x squared minus 1. So if we have the first one squared, if we have the second one squared, and the middle is a negative, then it's the difference of two squares. So basically, you're taking the square root of this one, square root of this one, making one negative and one positive. Feels weird not having any any snarky comments from Ms. Shaw. So if I had this, I would get the first is the square, the second's the square, and there's a minus sign. So I'd have two sets of parentheses. Take the x, because x times x gets x squared, and what times itself gets 144, 12. How do I get that negative? One's a positive, one's a negative. If I did x, nope. If I did 49x squared minus 25. What times itself gets 49x squared? 7x. 7x. What times itself gets 25? 5. And if I want a negative there, I have to have a plus or a minus. It doesn't matter which one comes first. Jeremy wants to say hi to Miss Shaw. Let's see. Number 23 on page 553. I would love to do that one for you. Okay. So 23, 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. Okay. I'm going to do my x over here. So I multiply these two together. If I multiply 3 and 1 together, I get 3. Then this is my b value, which is 4. What are the factors of 3? 1 and 3, and negative 1 and negative 3. Which ones add together to get 4? These two. So 1 and 3. So, I know I say so a whole lot. Plus 3x plus x plus 1. I take out a 3x. When I do that, I'm left with x plus 1. Then, what do these two have in common? They only have a 1 in common. There's nothing else that's in common. So I write a 1, and then you have x plus 1. Are my two sets of parentheses actually the same? Yes. Beautiful. And then you have 3x plus 1. Let's see. Hello, Mrs. Shaw. Hello, Jaren. Where the leading coefficient is negative. I did one of those a minute ago, but I can do another one. Can you do number 7 on 576? Number 7. Oh, is it because it's negative? And yes, I will come back to that one. Give me just a second, Hannah. Okay, so what are the factors? I multiply 1 and negative 54 together, and I get negative 54. And they have to add up to 3. So negative 54. So negative 1 and positive 54. Will that add up to get a positive number, which we want? Yes. So the negative is going to be on the smaller number. So 2 goes into that, 27 times? 3 goes into that, Really, guys? 3 goes into that 1 time 18. Oops, 18. Negative 4, 4 doesn't go in, 5 doesn't go in, 6 goes in because 2 and 3 go in. So 6 goes into that 9 times. Oh, these two right here, those add to positive 3, so negative 6 and 9. Does it matter which order? No. Why did I do it that way? I don't know. Okay, so all I've done now is replace those. What is the only thing these two have in common? 1. Not even close, Miss Grimbois. You're crazy. The only thing they have in common is X. Don't ask. What do these two have in common? They have a 9 in common. So I get X minus 6 and X plus 9. So Hannah, I'm going to go back to the question you asked. I'm going to do number 26, Hannah, on page 553. I'll do number 26, but I'll change it and make a negative coefficient. So it's the exact same problem. I'm just going to do it with a negative. So I have negative 3x squared minus 11x minus 6. So number one thing, if it has a leading coefficient of negative, you automatically have to take that out. Automatically. So I take out the negative. 3x squared plus 11x plus 6. And then you do the problem just like we've done before. I didn't leave space for myself, so I have to come over here. 18. When I multiply those two together, I get 18. The middle number is 11. I'm hoping that you know that that's 2 and 9, because that's the most popular for 18 is 2 times 9. It does add to get 11. Make sure you keep that negative out there. So I have 3x squared plus 2x plus 9x plus 6. Does it matter which order we do it in? No. Okay, so I'm going to take out an x from the first two, and I'm going to get 3x plus 2. Over here, they have a 3 in common, so I'm going to take out a 3. Are my two sets of parentheses exactly the same? They are. They're exactly the same. Make sure I have my negative out front, and I have a 3x plus 2, and I have an x plus 3. And then I did see, Kira, you want 576, number 8. Okay, is everyone? Okay. 576, number 8. I think the biggest problem with this one is that it has big numbers. Good thing I showed all my work. Okay, so when I multiply these two numbers together, make sure you see that it's negative 300, not positive 300, and then 13. So again, the bigger number is going to be positive because we have to add together to get a positive number. So negative 1 and 300, negative 2 and 550, 150, negative 3 and 100, negative 4 and 75. Let's see. Yeah, I got it right. Negative 5 and 60, still not close. Negative 6 and 50, still not close. 7 doesn't go in, 8 doesn't. Does 8 go in? No. Does 9 go in? Nope. Does 10 go in? Oh yeah, 10 goes in. Goes in 13 times? Nope. 13, Kimberly Renee. 10, 11 doesn't go in, 12. Yep, 12 goes in. Let's see how many times 12 goes in. 25. Oh, there it is. And if you actually look at my workbook or my math book, you will see that I actually, you can see it, I actually wrote out all of my factors, just like I did just now until I found it. Okay, so I do this. These two have a 2 in common, so I take out a 2x. I would have 5x minus 6. These two have a 5 in common, so I take out a 5, and I get 5x minus 6. So y equals 5x minus 6 and 2x plus 5. Okay. Is that good, Kira? Did you like that? Any other question? Okay, 577, number 12. Number 12. Oh, again, it has those big numbers, doesn't it? You guys just are afraid of your big numbers. That's all it is. It's not that you can't do it. So 10x squared plus 71x minus 72. Okay. Negative 720 that adds to 71. That's all it is. You can totally tell. The only reason you don't like this one is because it's got big numbers. So again, negative 1, 720, negative 2, 360, negative 3, let's see, 3 goes into that twice, 4, negative 4. Oh, this one's going to be hard for me. I'm going to look. I'm going to cheat. 180. Already have it written down. Negative 5. 144. Oh, that was horrible. Negative 6. 120. Now to 7. Then we're to 8. Negative. Oh, 90. Why did I even look on that one? Negative 9 is 80. Ooh, does that get me 71? It sure does. So negative 9 and 80. Now, I'm going to do 80 first. Why? Because I actually want to make sure that you see this having a negative right here. That's the only reason I'm doing 80 first. So if I go here, I take out a 10x. I get x plus 8. Then right here, because the leading coefficient is negative, I want to take out a negative 9 and still get x plus 8. So y equals x plus 8, 10x minus 9. Okay, anybody else? Got that, Allison? Allison. Okay. I'm freaking out, my dogs. Okay, I want to try one since nobody's putting up one. I want to do this one. And let's see. Y equals 14x squared plus 12x. Hi, Mrs. Shaw.
Hi, Miss Grimble.
Okay. So, that's 2. I'm such a nerd.
I wore my Ron Weasley socks today.
Oh, we've got to show everybody your socks.
Yeah, I think your class missed them, so they need to see how cute they are.
Ah, well, I have on slippers, so I don't have any cool socks on. Hey, you need to mute me on your computer.
You know, okay.
Okay, so this problem right here, the reason I picked this one is because you have to take out the greatest common factor. This time it's not negative, it's actually 2 that you need to take out. And so it's 7x squared plus 6x minus 1. Now the rest of the problem is actually simple Simon. Let's see. Did I lose Mrs. Shaw? Did she hang up? I think she hung up. She didn't want to talk to us anymore. Okay, so this would get me -7. This would get me 6. So this is 7 and -1. So I would keep my 2 there. 7x squared plus 7x minus x minus 1. I know, Maya, you're fine. Go right here. I take out a 7x and I get x plus 1. I take out a -1 and I get x plus 1. So y equals 2 times the parenthesis x plus 1 and 7x minus 1. I've done a lot of problems on 575. Which one do you want? I can see, Shaw, that you hung up. Which one do you want? Pick one from 575, Jada. Number 6. Okay. So I multiply this invisible 1 by this 10, and I get 10. I take the b value, which is -11, and I put it there. What are my factors of 10 that add to -11? So we don't want the positives because 1 and 10, that's going to get us a positive number. So I want the negatives. Those are the only negatives that I'm going to get. How do I get -11? Well, which set adds up to get -11? This one right here. So I replace the -11 with these two. Take out an x, I get x minus 1. Make sure you take out the negative along with the 10, so -10, x minus 1. So my answer is x minus 1, x minus 10. Anybody else? Questions? If you want more problems from 576, we have done them already. Not all of them, but a lot of them. You can always rewind and go back and watch some of those. At 12:30, I went over the problem from your Ed puzzle that some of you guys got wrong today. Anybody else? Nobody? And watch Tuesday's math chat. That would be wonderful. Who's in charge of Tuesdays? Is it Miss Farrell or 553, number 23? (553) number 23. We already did that one, Jose. You can go rewind and watch that one. Can we use the X method on 551 homework? Yeah. Except for the first page, you can't do it on that page. Anybody else on new problems? Okay, Mrs. Shaw actually went over the X method on Tuesday also. So if you were here Tuesday or today, we spent the whole time basically doing X method. Okay. See you guys later. It was good seeing you. Well, hearing from you. Seeing Mrs. Shaw's socks. Make sure you turn everything in using PDFs. Bye-bye. Be good. You're welcome, Hannah. People are just going to sit here until I go away, huh? Okay. Oh, see, you can see all the pictures of my family back there.